to about 055, which is right between the two numbers I got, so that's good. This is torqued to 72 inch-pounds and then backed up 3.5 turns. So you can see the little mark there. And then that's the start mark. And then that's the finish mark. And we're almost spot on. So pretty sure the second mark is the one I put there last time. So we're good. Ta-da! Look at that fresh unit. So once again, let me flip this down real quick. Huge shout out to FTI. Appreciate y'all getting me the parts I needed to put this thing together today. Fingers crossed, everything's in there correctly. Everything's torqued to spec. The clearances are to spec. Everything should be good. Plunger's in there. Everything moves like it's supposed to. So as far as I know, to the best of my ability, it is correct this time, I hope. So I'm gonna let this dry overnight. I've been up for over 24 hours at this point. I need to go to bed. I'll come by tomorrow, throw it back in the car. We will throw some fluid in it, run it through the gears, get fluid in everything, let it all warm up, check fluids, get everything topped off, and then we'll test out the trans brake. See you tomorrow. All right, guys, so YouTube's gonna get the second half of this. Transmission's back together. Let me show you why it was apart. So this is a set of clutches and steels. They're not supposed to be that color, nor is that clutch supposed to be that thin. We burnt the hell out of them. That's the bottom line. I screwed up. I forgot a spring for the trans brake plunger, and that's what you come. Stay there. There we go. I forgot the spring for the trans brake plunger, so trans brake engaged one time and kind of worked for a little while the clutches were still tight, and then after I burnt up the clutches, there was nothing there. So took it all apart, figured out the spring problem, put it all back together, tried it, just replacing the spring, not realizing the clutches were super burnt, which I should have checked when I took the valve body out, which I didn't, or I would have figured this out like Wednesday of last week, Tuesday, whatever day it was I took it apart. So I could have figured it out, fixed it a lot sooner, but I didn't. So I took it all back apart, took it all the way down, and that's what we found. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go throw the tranny back in the car. It's got a fresh coat of paint on it. It's got a brand new set of clutches and steels in the reverse setup. Huge shout out to the homies at FTI. That one right there, those guys. Neighbor's having some fun in his front yard. So the guys over at FTI took care of me. Appreciate it. I'm super sweaty. It's a nice, comfortable day out here in Florida. So yeah, we're gonna throw this back in there. We'll get her all tested up. I am going to retest the trans brake with it just kind of in place-ish before I fully bolt anything in, or before I put any bolts in it, really. Just to make sure that it disengages like it's supposed to. It should. Spring's in there. I know it's in there. I'm gonna recheck it because it'll make me feel better about it. So let's get started on that. Most of the reason that you don't have the first half of this video is because I did it on TikTok Live. I pulled it on TikTok Live and I took it apart on TikTok Live, trying to help that area to bring more people over here, hopefully. So I have gloves on, especially this hand because I got a new hand tattoo and I'm trying not to get trans fluid in it. But we're gonna get under there, get the tranny back in place, plug the trans brake solenoid in. It's just 2 wires. Make sure it's good. As long as it does what it's supposed to do, everything will get buttoned up. We'll finish filling it up with fluid because right now the converter is the only thing with fluid. I was just filling it up. And yeah, trans completely cleared out. Everything's been brake cleaned. I've gone through 3 cans of brake clean in this trans, just the transmission. I didn't spray anything in the converter. I just let the converter drain. But everything else has been flushed. The trans cooler hasn't been flushed, but the amount of fluid that's probably in there isn't super big deal, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it'll just kind of blend in. So let's get started. All right, I definitely hooked it up a lot more than I planned to, but I have a little bit of faith that I did this right this time. Ready? Sounds right. So the other thing we can do is we can watch down here. I'm not sure how well. Yeah, solenoid is bouncing, so it's engaging, disengaging, engaging, disengaging. Sweet. So hopefully I did it right. Trans-cooler lines are on. So let me run you through what you saw. You saw me go through struggle bus of putting the tranny up in place. Doing it on the ground, even with the Easy Jacks, it's very tight. And it's not super easy to get everything up where I need it to. So there's some sketchy moments there. Kind of glad it's on time lapse because it's probably gonna like, and you're gonna miss a lot of that, hopefully. Or it's gonna grab all of that and whatever. So you saw me get it in place. You saw me tighten all the bolts, cross members in. Eventually we're gonna change that cross member. That was kind of a, we'll throw this in to get it where we need to go type deal. But what I'm gonna eventually do is turn down sleeves to go through a piece of 1 5/8 moly because I have some spare stuff, and I will replace that with 1 5/8 moly for the bolts that bolt to the frame rails and the bolts that actually go through into the transmission. Both of those will get replaced with a sleeve. And I'll just weld them in place and we'll just bolt it. It'll be a little sturdier, it'll be a little lighter. It'll look a lot nicer. That's the big thing for me. That kind of janky. It works great, other than my really ugly plasma cutout section to clear the trans brake. But other than that, works great. I have a rib nut in it now for the ground for the trans brake instead of just being self-tapped, like I said. I don't know if I said it in this video, but we've gone through and we've replaced a bunch of these self-tappers with rib nuts. So if you don't know what a rib nut is, excuse me, rib nuts are these fancy little things. So that used to be a self-tapper. Now I have 2 stainless bolts that bolt in to this here fitting, and it's rib nutted. It's like a rivet with threads in it. So now it's solidly mounted there. We're not gonna have any problems with that. Not that we really had problems before, it's not ideal. I am trying to 110% up what I'm doing on the quality of work and everything else. So, you know, there's a lot of this stuff that I've tried to fix and make prettier and do better second, third, fourth, fifth time around. So like the trans cooler has a much more solid mount now. I would borderline hang off it in the back of the car now. I do have to rewire it. It's currently not wired in because I just cut the wires in order to disconnect it. But I'm gonna fix that too. I'm gonna put connectors on it so that we can pull it off without cutting wires and splicing in and having a million butt connectors, because I'm not a huge fan of that either. Again, progressively going to get better and better and cleaner as we go. So the transmission dipstick is here. this comes off, and then it screws into this, and then this sits up like this, and we can just put a funnel right in that tube. They send you this little cheesy bracket or plug thing that slides in, and you put your thing in. Screw that. I just put a funnel right down the tube. It works just fine. Probably gonna kill off the last of my trans fluid doing this because I'm not reusing the burnt shit, obviously. So I have about 2.5 gallons left. I'll pour that in there. The converter was full. I filled it up pretty much as high as I could fill it within reason. There's still some air coming out, but most of it was gone. And then it just didn't want to seat, so I poured a ton of that out. So the converter needs to be bolted in. I have the ratchet still bolted, still hanging off the nose. So we gotta go through and I gotta do that. After this is done, and the tranny's doing what it's supposed to do, we found a place that'll put a windshield in, so we can get rid of this after I finish all my welding. Technically, because I don't have a modified firewall, I don't need a dash bar, so I may skip the dash bar for now. I do need to order, you can sort of see right there, that one. I need to order my swing out bars. I had to do some stuff, so I'm just waiting for things to level out, and once things level out, I will be ordering the swing out bar, because that's the only like cage part that I need to weld fully in before we can go make some passes. And that's the only thing that's left weld wise. I'm gonna try and clean up some of the welds on the driver's bar at the bottom. I was looking at it the other day and I didn't do the best job. It's a super weird spot and I'm not comfortable and I'm not used to it, and I just did what I could and I just don't like it. So I'm gonna try and get in there and do a better job. Hopefully clean that up a little bit. Absolute worst case is I will cut that whole bar out and we'll make a whole new bar. That will be absolute worst case. I'll put swing out bars on both sides if I have to remove the section that I don't like and make it better. Again, we're gonna improve, we're doing better. And yeah, once that's done, really don't have a ton left. The windshield gets done. I might, depending on what time this all finishes up, I think I'm gonna fix the sunroof today or work on it. I bought that windshield or rear glass Lexan piece from a gentleman for an E36. And I was like, E36 is a much bigger car than this. Maybe it'll work. And it's literally like an inch short on the corners in the front. So no big deal. I can use it for the sunroof and I'll have a sunroof again. I'll probably tint it with just some tint we have laying around. Nothing super fancy. I'm gonna weld tabs in the corners so that we can Zeus it down like we did before. And those will also set the height for it. And it'll be flush to the roof of the car, hopefully. But let's get back to getting this training. All right, so clearly came up on the break. I gotta do it again because I forgot to save the damn data log. That's why doing it with the laptop's easier, because it auto saves and I don't think this does. We'll see. Anyways, so it came up on the break. Reverse is working. I have to figure something out. The clip to hold the shifter cable in place is bad, and I overfilled the train. So, my bad. Those new clutches might have been a little snug. I can smell them just a wee bit. But not too bad. So I will do another video getting it up on the brake so I can remember to save the data log. The puff of smoke was the overfilled transmission puking. It's 100% my bad. I screwed up. I know better. So we'll get another video here in a second and then go from there. Let's see if she'll go back in her spot. How's it see? All right, folks, she's back. Eventually I'll get back to that one. The stress of this one has had me not focused on that one, and I need to adjust that. Now that the trans is working again, I can revisit this one. I'm also trying to plan it so that Tyler can be here to help, because he likes to work on that one. He likes to work on both of them, but that's his dad's car, so he likes to help him. We're pretty much down to some small pieces. Essentially, motor and training are in. Working on getting it fired up. Got to finish some plumbing, some fuel lines, stuff like that. So, but she's a happy camper. I think I mentioned we do have a windshield coming, so that'll get fixed. I didn't get to the sunroof because I'm being lazy. I started late today. Maybe I'll jump on that tomorrow before football starts, but that's gonna be it for this week. So, as always, comment, like, share, subscribe, get after it.